Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming to the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show on the iNetpreneur Network. I'm your host, Donna Guinouard, and I am so excited that you've joined us today. We have three amazing guests, and I can't wait for us all to learn from them. But before we get into that, a couple things that I'd love to go over with you. Number one, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Two, bookmark all your networking activities at ntevents.net. And three, like us on our Facebook page. The iNetpreneur Network is where entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers, and experts come together to talk about their challenges and their triumphs, their tragedies and their impact. Let's get behind their stories and learn from their perspiration to their inspiration. I'm really excited. Of course, today I am joined by none other than Robert W. Jones, the owner and founder of Network Together. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Donna, how are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am doing really good. It's just been a pretty awesome and crazy week this week. I wonder if the same's been with you.
A little bit, yeah.
I know. It's like people are going, are we going to go back to in-person meeting? Are we going to keep virtual? Are we going to, go up in, a great balloon or something? It's like all the chatter is what is Network Together going to do next?
Exactly. And actually, we're going to do a little of both.
I think so. We are going to do.
Yeah.
We just had a meeting with some of our top brass within Network Together, and we're all excited about some of our chapters going in person again, and then other chapters that are actually going to stay virtual. So we found that Network Together has had quite a reach all around the country, and with the iNetrepreneur Network and the magazine, and of course your show, Donna, we're getting a lot of coverage now.
We are, and we should, because we are not just any other networking group. We are everything. We do training, we do speaking, we speak from small stages to large stages. Of course, like you said, we have our magazine, which is our let me get that word out.
Next
edition. Yes, our
yes.
Next edition is coming out when?
The last week of May. So we're really at May 25th.
I am super excited about that.
And what we've really found is, in networking, networking's, become such a dirty word for a lot of people. And we found, it's not that networking is bad, it's that bad networking is bad. And really entrepreneurs, that believe in personal relationship really need three things, access to quality people, access to quality information, and certainly, creating boatloads of inspiration, to and from each other. And I think that's what makes Network Together a real interesting concept.
Well, it's what sets us apart, Robert.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What sets us apart. We're not just hey, how you doing? Okay, let's do business. We don't operate that way.
No. And what I love today is, with Bill Heinrich and Rochelle Poulton and Joe Brookmire, as I say their whole names,
right?
Praise and props. It's really great because I feel like we have like a really homegrown team today. So people can really get a great flavor of diversity of, what the Network Together membership looks like. I mean, with Joel with International Minuteman Press, and with Rochelle Poulton with X Firm, who's like, my favorite on-call attorney, right? Mm-hmm. She might say, don't say that, Robert. And with Bill Heinrich, he helps people find their true passion. I think we have a great show today.
We do. And I'm excited. I can't wait to interview everybody. So I always advise, if you're able to safely, grab a pen and paper and take some notes, because there's going to be some information that you're going to want.
And one more thing, Donna, before I go, we hit our goal of 100 subscribers within a month. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes.
To create a vanity URL for our show here. And
yes.
So, another thing that you might not have seen yet, but we also were approved to wear a badge within our Alignable network as well for being a high recommended organization. So we're excited that on two fronts today, we were accepted in two ways. So I'm really excited about today's show.
Yes, I am too. And I'm just excited about what Network Together in a whole is doing. Great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep you waiting. I am so excited. My first guest is none other than Bill Heinrich.
Hi,
Welcome,
Donna.
Bill. Hi,
Thank
welcome.
you. I'm happy
I'm
to be
so,
here. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am divine.
Perfect. Perfect. So before we get into the interview, of course, I like to brag on my guests a little bit. Bill is the owner of True Purpose Life. True Life Purpose Now. Said it a little backwards. He has coached people all over the world, thousands of people. He is an author, and his superpower is a healer. And I have his signed book.
Oh my God. I don't even
Yay!
have one.
I love this book. I love this book. I love it. So, Bill, let's get started a little bit and just do a little bit of background. You know, Robert and I often talk about not everybody is born an entrepreneur. Some are made for different reasons in life. So, you know, I know you're not from Arizona specifically. And you currently have the awesomeness of being able to go around wherever you want in your RV, which I think is fabulous. When did you start your entrepreneurship?
Well, 50 years ago, I bought my first business I was a paper boy, but I bought my first business at the age of 24. So, and I've been in
Oh,
business for myself ever since.
wow. Okay. How old were you when you were a paper boy?
Gosh, I'd have to think about that, but like, sixth, seventh, eighth grade into high school.
I had my paper out when I was 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I had 120 people on my paper route. And let me tell you,
Wow.
in Arizona, that is some brutal summer work.
That's a big bundle of papers.
It is. It is. So I
Yeah.
love it. So take us back a little bit about what your first business was, and kind of how you've evolved to where you are now.
Well, I'm going to do that really quickly. I've had a number of different businesses. I'm more of a starter. I was always a starter, starting businesses and selling them. But what I learned over about a 20-year period or so, maybe a little longer than that, was I was unable to hold on to success. Like nothing would satisfy me. In fact,
Mhm.
I was very successful. I was a millionaire before I was 30, and I was broke when I was 31. So, um, I've learned the lessons, and this is what's really got me. It caused me 25 years ago to literally walk away from my life and find out why I was so miserable. And that's the path that I've been on ever since, and just in this continual growing process, which transformed into coaching about 10 years ago. And I'm a business coach. That's my specialty. But I never talk business with my clients. And I have worked with and work with now um, all sorts of clients all over the world, including regular entrepreneurs, celebrities. I have a solopreneur right now that I'm coaching who uh, I think this year, he'll do $2 million in revenue. So it's,
Nice.
and it's all the same. It all has to do with the inner game. It all has to do with the stories and beliefs you have inside of you. That's what's blocking you, holding you, holding you back and standing in your way. So it's always a fascinating process working with clients.
Well, I know that in your book, you talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything in that book is what I do in coaching.
exactly.
Uh, because I wrote the book because I'm so limited in the number of people that I can touch. So
Right.
and the information in the book is called The 7 Levels of Truth. It's available on Amazon. Um, the information in that book will take anyone to their life purpose. And your life purpose is not what you do. It's the energy you do it with.
Correct.
I want to be very clear, because once we live in two different dimensions, in fact, right now, as you mentioned, I'm in an RV. I'd started a book tour. I started it and came to the first city I was going to speak in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, one day before the shutdown.
Right.
So I'm sitting in Albuquerque. I have no idea where I'm going. It's the most exciting time of my life, because when you understand energy, and Donna, I know you're a high energy coach, so I know you know
Yes.
exactly what I'm talking
Yes.
about. But when you understand energy, there is no COVID-19 in energy. It's in the
Right.
physical.
Right.
It's in the physical. And it's an incredible time right now to manifest and attract things to you. However, the only way you can do that is to find out what contaminates your energy. If you don't know what contaminates your energy,
That's
then,
the key.
you know, people go to energy healers and they're great. You know, there's all sorts. I've been studying metaphysics now 25 years. But when you go to quote unquote an energy healer, it's like getting an energetic haircut. You know, yeah, you can get things cleared up and you're going to feel better, but it's all going to come back.
Right, because they're not giving you the tools to go forth.
Well, you haven't ripped it out at the root.
Right.
In fact, you can't even rip it out at the root, because the things that, you know, we all come to life with life lessons. There's 38 different life paths. We've all learned things in our families of origin that don't support us anymore. We get very we get caught up in the physical, and that's totally distracting from the non-physical, because everything in the universe is a vibration. And when you understand that and you just focus on the vibration, you can do things at a speed in ways that literally will blow your mind. I mean, just that's how you create miracles.
Right. And opening yourself up for that and
Well,
understanding that. Right.
you know everything. I was CEO of a company called Wisdom of the World up in San Rafael, California, and we made wisdom films. And we did one time with Bob Proctor, and we were with Bob, and in the studio, he said something that I'll never forget. He said, "Everything you have the day you die is going to someone else, but everything you are stays with you for eternity."
Right.
And these are the things that I work on, because we've come to learn lessons. It means we have blind spots. The truth of the matter is, everybody's making decisions based on who they aren't, because they're wearing blindfolds.
Mhm.
Because when you're here to learn life lessons, you have blind spots. If you don't know something, then you're just going to walk right into it. And we all have life lessons. So the more you learn about your life lessons and what's going on inside you, you can make more powerful choices.
Right. And you know, one of the things I talk about on a simpler level in my coaching is that you have to be able to understand and how a terminology, an energy vampire can feed you, let them feed off of you, and it keeps you out of balance.
Well, it's worse than that, okay? Because if you were fishing, we'd call it chumming.
Right.
They don't come and get you. You call them in.
Well, exactly. You let them in.
Because I have a whole talk I give on the difference between accountability and responsibility.
Mhm.
And most people live in the state of accountability because they're in the physical. And when you change that to responsibility and start making choices for yourself, because every choice, every breath, every word, every action either takes you closer to your soul or away from it.
Mhm.
Every second of every day.
Right. And the worst thing we can do is tell ourselves the wrong information.
Exactly. You know, in fact, I had put in the notes, if anybody wants, I have another book called Clarity Has No Story. It's a shaman's guide to mastering the law of attraction, and they can get it at myfreebook.me, myfreebook.me. They can download that book. And it all talks about your language, because the words we use are the things that attract everything. Everything has a vibration. Everything.
Mhm.
And if you don't understand that, and you don't understand you have life lessons, and you don't understand that you have things inside you, beliefs and stories that don't serve you anymore, then you're just in that constant circle of challenges.
Right.
And
You're in a
everybody
constant
is.
circle of imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Constant circle of imbalance. And that gets tiring, right?
Well, it doesn't just get tiring. It will never end, no matter what you learn, no matter what you know, it will never end. And the reason it won't end is as you go through the cycle of creation, when you learn something, you're like, wow, I can do that. So you go and you really figure it out. Well, now you have a whole new perspective on life. And then you have new lessons that come in based on that perspective. So it never, ever ends.
Right, right. So give us a few more examples on how you're coaching, or do you marry them all together with all your books? Do you do a little of that with all of it?
No, well, it's different pieces. You know, it's very interesting. Number one, I'm the only business coach, probably the only coach in the world. I am the only coach in the world that I know that gives a 100% money back success guarantee, and I will let the clients write the guarantee.
Nice.
Okay. And I tell all my clients the same thing. I don't care what your results are. I could care less, because I can't make choices for you. You're the one that has to make the choices. I can teach you how to integrate, but when the moment comes, you need to learn how to make that choice. You need to know how to, when you're losing your power, how to choose your power to step through something. I'm not going to be there with you. So I'm really empowering them. So as they learn more, they can go empower other people. And I, like you said, I say I've worked with hundreds of people, but I can tell you that I've touched tens of thousands of lives with this work, because once the people understand who they are, it's wild how it transforms their life.
You know, it's funny because everybody, in my opinion, everybody needs a coach at some time in their life.
Oh, just
right?
one?
No, different coaches, but sometimes
No.
at different times in your life.
I work with three different coaches right now.
Right. And, you know, it's interesting because I often see people talk about, well, I've got my business coach and I've got my, you know, my media coach and stuff. And I tell, if your energy isn't in balance, I promise you, it shows up before you ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can either make your energy work better for you, right? Because you're in connection with it. Therefore, you have a better rapport with your clients and you're not pushing them away.
Very simply put, we are like radio stations. We are sending out a signal. We are sending out an energetic signal with our energy. And like attracts like. That's why misery loves company.
Right.
It's your energy is what you attract in. So you don't even really, like, what happens in the physical doesn't even matter to me. It doesn't matter, because with the energy I'm putting out, only great things can happen. So I'm not saying, oh, did I bring in enough money? It's not that. It's did I show up with love to be fully of service to someone else? That's it. Once I do that, everything else gets taken care of. Everything else gets taken care of.
Right. It all falls into place.
It's attracted in. It's very simple.
Right. But understanding that energy is truly key in not only business, but it has to be in your life before it hits into your business.
Well, your business is your life. Everything is your life. It's all the same energetically. You know, it's kind of like a computer, right? Energy has viruses, just like computers. And if you get a virus in your computer, well, everybody's living with these viruses in energy that they aren't aware of, and they go around stressed out, frustrated, overwhelmed, and say, why does this always happen to me? And they eventually just take on a victim mentality, because it's going to happen again and again, because
Keeps perpetuating.
we're here to learn lessons till the day we die, until the day we leave Earth. It will never change. So you not only need to know your lessons, you not even need to know what's blocking you, bothering you, the stories and beliefs. You have to go love them, because they're never leaving. They're always going to show up in one form or another your entire life. Guaranteed, without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah, there's always somebody out there with that kind of deep, darker energy.
And on the really exciting side of it, and I know you know this, the universe and universal energy must be accessed through your heart. It cannot be accessed through your head. You can only think about it in your head. And the universe is only about one thing, and one thing only: expansion. It's all about energetic expansion organically.
Right.
So when you know your energy, you get to play in that field of expansion, and that's exciting.
Right. It is. It is. I am so excited that you're here. What would be three or four of your top things that you would give as a tip to anybody listening who might be struggling with their energy?
Wow, there's so many. I'm trying to think of just a few basic things here.
Excuse me.
How you show up energetically is far more important than how you look. Showing up and being transparent and honest about how you feel that's the only way you can connect with people. The only connection that we have with people is through our feelings. It's the only thing we understand mutually. You may be in the same business. You know, I'm a coach, you're a coach. We are two totally, completely different people. But if I talk to you about sadness, if I talk to you and connect with you energetically,
Right.
people will never remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So that's the only place that you can have authentic connection. When you're in your head, you're in intellectual connection, and you're just regurgitating information like a tennis match. You're just throwing words back and forth.
Right, right.
So those are probably the two most important things.
And what would be a tip for them to, besides, first of all, buy his book? Absolutely get his book. And he's got free book here. But how would you give them that to start with if they're really struggling?
To be still, quiet your mind, open your heart, and listen to your soul. And this is a time of being, not doing.
Right.
We are in physical separation. We are in self-quarantine. It's a perfect time to be still. You can attract everything you desire in your life. You can sit in your home. You never have to leave it, and you can attract it all energetically. You don't have to go chase it down and kill it the way most people do business.
Right. And of course, I know Bill, ladies and gentlemen, and I've heard him speak. And Bill, am I right that you do not advertise?
That's correct. There's no need to. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I'm busier now than I've ever been.
Right. You have more clients than you can almost take on. Keep coming. You know
I'm not
what I mean?
I'm not taking any more individual clients. Clients now have to go into my group program because I don't have time.
Right. You can't be there for everybody. So
Right.
That is what he is saying, ladies and gentlemen, that the power of understanding your energy and the synapses of it, if you will, connected and putting it out there. He doesn't advertise, and he has more business than he knows what to do with.
Mm-hmm. I attract them to me. You know, when you speak, people are always getting prepared to answer. But when you come from your heart, it's impossible for them to block your energy. So when you're floating your words on your energy, people are intellectually hooked up, but you're touching their heart with the energy, and they can't block it. They cannot block it.
Awesome. Well, Bill, thank you. I am so excited to be able to interview you today. I'm going to wrap up real quick, but please tell people where they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, it's my website is True Life Purpose Now. You can get my book, Clarity Has No Story, at myfreebook.me. You can get my latest book, The 7 Levels of Truth, at Amazon. And my email is thedivinepurposeguy@gmail.com.
Awesome.
We have to do this again. It was too short.
I know. It is always too short. It makes me crazy.
Connecting with you, Donna. Yeah.
I love connecting with you. Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Heinrich, he is an amazing, amazing person and has so much insight and expertise to give us all. So our next guest, I want to get right into it. I'm really excited, is Miss Rochelle Poulton. Hey, Rochelle.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
I am excited for you to be here too. So I like to brag on my guests a little bit. So of course, Rochelle is an attorney. She is the owner of X Firm Law. She is a graduate of ASU. She's happily married. And what I love about her is one of her superpowers is that she is a strategist.
Yes. Yeah. So I have a good friend. Her name's Kenyatta Turner, and she is also a really awesome business coach and professional development coach. And she has a really awesome program called Behavioral Superpowers. So
Right.
I've known her for several years, and she started this up, and I was like, heck yes, sign me up. I want to know more about myself. And being a strategist in the behavioral superpower world just means that I like to plan and pay attention to detail and get stuff done.
Well, that makes you a perfect lawyer.
I know. It's so funny. My husband also took it, and he is an initiator. So on the wheel of things that are right next to each other, I think every lawyer is either a strategist or an initiator. We're all A-type personalities.
And your husband's a lawyer too, correct?
Yes, he is.
I love that. So let's go back a little background. Where are you originally from?
So I am half Native American, and I grew up in East Texas, and then I moved to New Mexico. So I'm from Texas and New Mexico. Every 12 years I seem to move, but I've been in Phoenix for about 12 years, but I'm not planning on moving. I like it here.
I was going to say, now wait a minute. I've not heard any scuttle that you're moving.
No.
So, okay. So did you know as a little girl, you just always wanted to be a lawyer?
No idea. I always wanted to go to law school. I had been thinking about that in college. So I have a bachelor's degree in English with a emphasis in pre-law. But I didn't actually think I would go to law school. And when I got into law school at Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, I had no idea that I wanted to be a lawyer. I love to read. I'm a super nerd. And I just thought I would be maybe an academic or a researcher or a writer. I didn't know what I was going to do. But once I got in and a year had gone by, I freaking loved the law. I knew I wanted to practice. I knew that people needed help. And so I started looking for all of the holes that needed to be filled. And I settled into financial crisis consultant, essentially.
Right. Right. So I love that. So explain what it is you do, because it is so important, in my opinion, Rochelle, that how your law firm operates in helping people. Because now, I think more than any other time in history, at least in my years, it's more critical that people understand what you have to offer and how it impacts their life and their energy for their life, right?
Right. Yeah. So what we do, I started back in 2012, right in the height of the mortgage foreclosure crisis, helping people navigate through distressed real estate situations. And that's what really got me into dealing with debt settlement, credit repair, credit counseling, litigation defense. So people were getting sued by debt collectors left and right, bankruptcy.
Mhm.
So I do everything related to finance, including just business consulting and financial consulting. Sometimes people don't need to hire a lawyer. They just need a sounding board and really solid advice. And it's kind of terrifying because 8 years later, here we are in 2020 dealing with another kind of external crisis where we haven't quite felt the full effect of the ramifications of the ongoing pandemic economically, but we know we will. So I had written a book about a couple months ago called The Beginner's Guide to Good Financial Health. And it's available for free. You can download it on my website at xfirmlaw.com, or you can buy a copy at Shopify. But really, the purpose of the book was to help people with just basic financial getting it together, because it's so hard right now, especially with the economy as it is, to take a look at your financial situation and plan. It's terrifying. People are getting laid off. 33 million have declared for or filed for unemployment. There is just, it's such a huge problem.
It is. And the 33 million doesn't count the part-time
independent
people.
Contractors.
Right, or the independent contractors, or the people who are part-time who have been trying to get full-time, and they can't get unemployment because they're part-time.
Yeah, it's insane. Like,
right?
What's the real number? Kind of hard to say.
Well, I think the real number is absolutely astronomical right now.
Yes, I think we all know of someone personally who's been impacted physically or financially by, the coronavirus, which is pretty terrifying.
It is. It's funny because I know that my parents grew up in the Depression. So a lot of the things that they taught me when I was young didn't quite click until I got older. And about every 2 years, I really take a hard look at my own personal budget. Mm-hmm. What am I spending too much money on? Is my cable too high? Am I watching all of those shows? This is a big one. Is my car, am I overinsured on my car? I got rid of my pool guy. I did all kinds of things. And you know what? When I was done, I saving over $4,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just by little pieces here and there.
I mean, that's the first thing that I tell people to do right now. What can I do to survive coronavirus? And it's take a look at your bank statements and see where your money is going. Because if you have no idea now, you're not going to know when things get back to whatever normal is. When you're running around, driving again, going here and there, taking the kids wherever. Life is busy and it's kind of slowed down quite a bit in the last couple of months. So it's a really great time to just think. What am I doing? What do I want?
Right. What do I really need versus what do I want?
Yes.
That's
those two
one.
Sometimes they go hand in hand. A lot of people are taking a look and realizing that they've been renting forever and that maybe now is a great time to start looking and getting ready to buy a home in the future. And I love that, planning ahead in the middle of all of this. We all need goals. We all need something to look forward to. So taking a look at finance, taking a look at credit, can be really scary. And what we do is help people take an honest look at it, get rid of the fear, and make what seems super complicated and overwhelming pretty simple. So, one of the big things that I really thought was very important when I came out of law school was to not charge billable hours. It is just the number one complaint that people have about attorneys is that they're not affordable. They're not accessible. And for consumer rights issues, when people are maybe being hassled by a landlord or they don't know what to do with their student loans, it can be really scary to think about talking to an attorney, especially when you don't know what it's going to cost. You think it's going to cost hundreds of dollars for a consultation. And I'd rather people have the information that they need as opposed to guess, because the internet is full of terrible info. Some of it's really great, but some of it's pretty bad. And,
Right.
we offer a free 15-minute consult. Like, send me your docs. Let's take a look. Let's see what's really going on. But that's part of our commitment to what my vision is, which is to give people really solid financial advice, no matter where you are.
I love that, because not doing a billable hour. So, most any attorney would be easy. Just run of the mill, $150 for a half hour.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy.
Every day.
And, right. And $150 for most people, it's like, okay, now do my kids eat? What bill do I not pay? So I love that you do that. What are your three top things that you would tell people to look at, in your opinion, that they can, before the virus and now during the virus, do you think that they need to look at to juggle their budget a little better?
Yes, I think the top 3 things people should do to improve their budget during this time and after is going to be, 1, take a look at your bank statements. Just, they're digital these days. You can just peruse through. It's kind of funny because you'll see all of those subscriptions that maybe you forgot you forgot to put on hold, like gym memberships, all of the luxury services like massages and nail appointments, all of that. Just take a look at it and decide, should you continue to pay for it moving forward? Mm-hmm. The second thing is you got to take a look at your credit report. There's so many great resources for free credit reports online. My top 2 are creditkarma.com and freecreditscore.com. And those just give you a lot of information about what's going on with you financially. It's also a really good idea to get credit monitoring because there's going to be an uptick in scams. There's a lot of identity theft issues going on right now, and just kind of getting familiar with what's on your credit now is the time to do it. Because in 6 months from now, just getting started into it and seeing that maybe you're a victim of identity theft is not going to be ideal. And the third thing to do is plan. What do you want financially in the next 3 years, in the next year, in the next 6 months? For some people, it's just getting a job and being able to have savings again and pay for their bills. And those are great goals, all of them. Mm-hmm. So just kind of figuring out where you are financially and what's going on realistically, those would be my top 3.
I know I told my kids when they grew up and moved out, when you plan your budget, make sure that when you eat out, you put that in your grocery bill.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, but Mom, I'm just eating out. And I'm like, yeah, count up how many times you eat out and then take that out in your whole month and see how much money you've used up in food, because that's part of your grocery.
I pretty much tell people when it comes to food, whatever they think their food budget is, write that down, triple it, because that's really what you're paying. And this day and age, people just eat their paychecks without really realizing that's what they're doing.
Exactly. So one of the things that I like to talk about, and I talk with my clients in high energy coaching, I really believe in ROE, return on energy. What do you do to get your return on energy to come back fresh when you take off your entrepreneurial lawyer hat?
Well, honestly, it's such a big part of my life. I'm not quite sure I ever take it off, but I do love to read quite a bit. I'm currently reading The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. I have gotten into sci-fi this year, so that really helps with just balance, like you can't work all the time, so you have to find things that you enjoy. I also like cooking. I think I've cooked more in the last 8 weeks than I have in the last 10 years, so that's pretty awesome. Learned how to make biscuits and muffins and all sorts of stuff. My husband's really enjoying it. And then I enjoy outdoors more, surprisingly, because when you're cooped up inside, I tend to go on walks every day, usually at a cooler time of the day. Right. But all of those things are really helpful to remember that it's not always about the hustle. It's also about living.
Balance. It's about that balance and returning your energy in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So how can, again, let everyone know, Rochelle, how they can get a hold of you? Because I've known Rochelle for, gosh, almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
No, almost four. So lovely, lovely person. She will shoot you straight. She's not one of those out to, slick talk you. She's very straightforward. So how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can call my office at 480-305-0603, but you can also shoot us an email to hello@xfirmlaw.com.
And don't be afraid to take her up on her offer. She would not have put that out there if it wasn't for real.
Exactly.
I love it. I love that you help people so much, and that your heart is so servant oriented that you didn't want to hurt anyone with the billable hours, so that you make that work for your clients. I love that.
Thank you. We love it too.
Well, thank you so very much for being with us today. I am so excited to be able to see you again and to be able to interview you and let people know that you're out there and you can help them.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. This was great. This is such a fun venue.
It is great. I can't wait to see you in person soon. Right? Thanks, Rochelle.
Thanks, Donna. You have a great one.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, please take Rochelle. If you have any issues, take her up on her offer. She is such a genuine heart servant person and just wonderful, and she will not steer you wrong. Our next guest I'm very excited about is none other than Joel Brookmire. Hey, Joel.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm lucky. This is my second time I've got to see you this week.
Right.
I know. Big week.
We got to see each other in person, which is even better.
I know. That was exciting.
Yep.
Mask on and all of that, but we were good. So I just, before we get started, I want to brag on you a little bit, if I could. So you are the owner of International Minute Press of Casa Grande. You proudly served in the U.S. Army for 6 years. Thank you for your service. You happily married with, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 children. And I think 3. Okay. Grandchildren, 2?
I have 4 grandchildren and 1 any day now. She's having labor pains. So.
Okay. Well, we haven't connected in a while on the grandbabies.
Right.
So, Joel is also the printer for the iNetpreneur magazine for Network Together, the iNetpreneur Network. And I want to tell you that Joel's superpower is his ability to listen. So you didn't know that you had that superpower.
I don't have a cape on, but
you're going to have to get one made. You're a printer. I love it. So, Joel, tell us a little bit about your background and how you came into the printing world and being an entrepreneur.
Well, it was truly by accident. I came from a background of my dad owned a garage, so I learned mechanics. I was very much hands-on type person. Through high school, I was a pretty good athlete, and I ended up going to college to wrestle. Didn't work the way I wanted it. I was more of a hands-on person than a scholar, so I ran out of money during the Reagan years and had to do something else. That's when I decided to go into service and collect some extra funds to go back to school. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where while I was in the service, my dad got sick, and I was a mechanic by trade in the service, and they had to put me close to home. They said, "What about working in the print shop here?" Okay, so that was back in 1986. So it was a long time ago. So I had an older gentleman that took me under his wing and taught me from soup to nuts how to run a print shop. And it just kind of grew from there. I worked through a lot of print shops. I actually worked in the service area on fixing machines. And then I got tied into International Minute Press as a area field rep in 4 states, and this one happened to come up for sale, and they've been trying to sell for a while. And I said, well, if I'm training people to do this, why not buy my own? At least I can stay at home because I was traveling. So that's kind of how it all came together.
That is cool. And how long have you owned this?
8 years now. 8 years this month.
Okay. So I've personally done business with you, and you are actually the only one I will do business with for any of my printing needs. But I want to tell the audience, one of the things to me that sets you so far apart is that you actually will deliver and drop off.
Correct. Yeah, that's part of all International Minute Press. People say, well, that's marked up in your pricing. No, it's not. It's the same price whether you stop in my office or if I bring it to you. There's no extra charge.
Right. But I mean, that to me is huge because I don't always have the time to run out and pick up what I've ordered. And I come home and Joel gives me a text or email says, hey, Donna, it's at your door. I'm like, awesome. I love that. So what are the 3 I really want to get into, because not everybody, like you said, not everybody was born, and you weren't born an entrepreneur. What are the 3 things that you would tell somebody who's younger than we are, who's maybe thinking about, do I want to go into business and work for corporate America, or do I want to be an entrepreneur? What would be your 3 top things to tell them?
I would say right off the bat, put good people around you. You need to have good people around you. If it's not employees, it's other business owners that have been there, so you can learn from them, learn from their mistakes. Most times they're more than willing to share, hey, these are the mistakes I made. I don't want to see you make the same mistakes. And then obviously employees. I have family. My daughter runs the front of the office. And I can rely on her completely. I would say know that you don't know everything. So have an accountant that you can put things toward him, because accountants will say, no, you can't afford to do that. Or, you know what, plan for it in this amount of time. Or that's a good way to project what you need for equipment. So my office, we're always updating our equipment because nowadays everything's digital. Things are progressing. It's just like cell phones. You get a new cell phone and, a month later, there's a new cell phone out. It's the same way with printing. So you always have to keep updated with the newer stuff. I would say those are the 2 main things. And the last thing is the backing of your spouse, for me, has been huge. She's always there to keep me, guiding me in the right direction. And it's always been helpful to me, whether or not it's a kick in the butt or just a, good job. I need both.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Donna is a lovely woman. She is a lovely, lovely woman. Very encouraging. And it's not like she doesn't know your business.
Right.
I mean, she does. I mean, you're kind of in it together.
Right. Exactly.
One of the things I think for people who are young is, if they're not sure, and this is just, a thought for me, is that if you're not sure if you want to be an entrepreneur, or that what excites you, don't be afraid to take a job in corporate America, especially if you're really young, and find out what's out there. Find out your likes and dislikes.
Correct. Yeah. My son, he graduated from college and wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and took a decent position. And he actually got promoted to a position that he had to supervise. And he just despised it, because he's the kind of person, he's like my wife, get out of the way. I can do this better than you because you're doing it wrong. And he couldn't bring in his own team, so he had to take the team that they gave him. And he said he just went to management and said, this isn't for me. And not long after that, they created a position for it, because they wanted to keep him there. They knew he was a valuable employee, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting with big business. And
Right.
learning from big business, because big business makes mistakes all the time. They just have a lot of backing. Where small
Right.
business owner, that's where you have to realize, small business owner, you got to be very cautious. You know,
Right.
it's just like in this COVID thing right now with a lot of small businesses. They're the ones that are struggling, and I feel for them. I very much feel for them, because advertising is going to be the way back, and we're trying to actually promote to help them get back. So
Right.
you know,
And so give us a few examples, because I know, because I've worked with you, but not everybody knows exactly what everything you guys do.
So Minuteman was created actually back in the 70s, and it was ink on paper, which is offset printing. Then obviously the digital age came in, and that's high-end copiers. That's what they call digital printers. So that's our mainstay. We have a lot of wide format material that we do, whether it's signage for yard signs, whether it's just an indoor poster. That kind of stuff is very, very important. We're actually doing a lot of the flooring type things now for the 6 foot. Keep
Right.
people 6 foot. So we do vinyl. We do window vinyl. We do floor vinyl. We also do promotional items. So if you go to my website, you can actually just go and peruse yourself. You can just go in and click on promos and put in your information. You can actually look for what you want, rather than me send you 3 items out of 60,000 items. So it's so much nicer for us now. That just came about over the last year. It's a very, very useful tool for people that on your downtime you can go look. That's the great thing.
Right. And the website is super easy to peruse through, everyone. So just so you know, really user friendly. It's not hard at all. I love that. And you also do t-shirts, so stuff like that.
Correct.
Right. So because not all people who print stuff like that do those kind of promotional items.
Right. And we've become a one-stop shop now. We're not always the cheapest in town, but we try to help everybody with everything. And there's some people out there that will sell stuff for virtually nothing, and I see it.
Right.
I want to help people out. And if I have the right equipment, I can give you the right pricing. If I don't, I will try to help somebody find a fit for them.
Right. That's one of the things I love about you, is that you're very honest about it. You don't try to hurt people. That's just not who you are.
Right.
So real quick, one of the things I always ask my guests in my business, high energy performance coaching, I'm a big believer in ROE. And I talk to my clients about this, and that's return on energy. What do you do to step away from the printing world to your entrepreneurial world to come back, Joel, and be refreshed and have the vigor and the ingenuity and the insight to do what you do for everybody every day?
I would say, first of all, it's probably my grandbabies. They give me the energy. They rejuvenate me. If I could bottle what they have, I'd have a real good sale. They light up my life, and they give me such joy. And I would say also my church. I miss church so much right now. We're so looking forward to going back. Ours is opening up June 7th. So that's really where I get my energy from. I love that.
And Joel, please let everybody know how they can reach you.
So you can give us a call at the office. It's 520-876-4607, or you can email me at joel@impcasagrande.com. And the same thing with the website, impcasagrande.com. Very simple.
And just because, ladies and gentlemen, he's in Casa Grande and like I'm here in the Valley in Tempe, doesn't mean he won't deliver to you.
Correct. Yeah, we have Tucson. We have Tucson area, and so we're the better of both worlds being here, because we go to Tucson, we actually go to Phoenix, so not a problem.
I love it. Joel, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and being with me here this afternoon so I could interview you and talk to you, and so everyone can get to know how awesome you are.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It was fun.
It was fun, wasn't it? And it went quick.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
I know. Thank you so much, Joel.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, was that an incredible show? Robert, what do you think? With three amazing guests, did we not?
Yeah, and what's absolutely so awesome about this, it's, because we talk about business, we talk about networking through Network Together, but when what it really gets right down to, it's the relationships that we have with the guests today. And there's a lot of shows where we get a lot of information, but what I like about this, hopefully that we inspired some, we created some inspiration with the guests that we had on the show. And you see that the bonds of our relationships go way beyond just business. They tie us into how we care for each other, how we care for our community, how we care for the clients. I mean, we talked about price, we talked about service, we talked about an assortment of maybe mindset, if I could say that. But
absolutely,
what here today is these are business owners, entrepreneurs that really care about what they do and who they serve. And, in each and every one of them has served you and I, Donna, in many ways. And it's really nice to have a show where, we can discuss that with them, and show others that, business is wonderful, but business is just even greater than that. When you do it with people that you truly know, like, and trust, because you can't fake that. You can't fake the feeling of it.
No, you can't. You can't. And that's one of the things that I love about Network Together is that when we talk about being a family, we really are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We really are. We are there for each other as much as flesh and blood family. And we thrive in that.
Yeah, and it's like the original tagline was where relationships create community and commerce follows. And we really mean it, because some communities are like commerce, then community, then relationships.
Right.
And for us, that's the opposite way. Start with the relationships and create a community where we cannot help but want to serve each other.
Right.
And there's one thing about a community, hey, they're there to pick you when you're down. They're there to let you know it if you make a mistake, but they're also there to help you show it. And that's, the referral network that we've created from this community.
And to be our biggest cheerleaders.
Absolutely.
We are our biggest cheerleaders with each other. Exactly. Because, I've taken printing to, Staples and this and that. And then Joel came into my life and I'm like, Joel, I need help.
Yeah, even saying that, Donna, it's like, what did you just say? Joel came into my life. Who says that about a
he through Network Together.
Joel came into my life.
I know, Joel came into my life. But it was amazing because he made sure everything I wanted. And I know you've done work, obviously, with him, with the magazine, right? Our magazine is outstanding. Yeah, outstanding.
And we had a misspelling on a brochure at our last large iNetwork Expo. We had 300 programs, and he drove all the way back, went to the print shop the very next day. He handed them right to me and said, they're corrected. And you know what? Those brochures, those programs for our event went on and went out. And that's the type of quality that Joel has in his own business. And and Rochelle's the same way. What I love about Rochelle is like, okay, I'm going to ask you something, and all of a sudden it's like I'm thinking I'm going to get a paragraph, and all of a sudden, I can tell she loves reading books because she just wrote me one in her answer. So it's like, wow, Rochelle. I love, it's just like, you're like the Tiffany box and the bow included, and that's what makes her so great. And then Bill, as well, here he is done. He had a family emergency, but he still took his time to come onto the show today because he felt, that obligation that says, I care about my family, but I also care about you guys. And no, I'm not going to not go on that show. Last week, some difficulties with some technical issues, But he told me, no, I will be there. And, you know, and again, it goes back to, you know, what type of energy,
Right.
you know, what type of energy, you know, are you conveying, you know, and what type of people are attracted to the energy that you convey? I mean, it's pretty magical.
It is. It is. Well, I'm excited, and I can't wait till next week. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our show. It went by so quick, but you know what? Next week, same time, same place, and we have some more amazing, amazing guests. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week and stay safe.